Hello, founders. Hello, everyone watching us this evening, or it may be during the day for you. I know I'm streaming at 7 p.m. Central European Time and 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for joining us today. I am Avocat Olivia Marcu-Iordanescu. Now, I know almost invariably all the captions will translate that into avocado. I am not an avocado. I am an attorney at law, but this is my professional title, right? And for those of you who don't know already, I partner with technology companies that are scaling up and emerging to help them streamline their legal processes so they get 8+ figure funding. Welcome to this episode. I have someone very special here with me today. It's really an honor to have Chaya Peltz by my side. She is a business acceleration coach. I will actually give Chaya a chance to introduce herself. I think that serves more justice to this entire session. But I want to create first a little bit of context why I have invited Chaya here today. And the reason I've done that is because I know a lot of you founders are maybe now or have done that leap already of switching from the corporate world to starting and growing your own business. And I myself have made that step a few years back, and here I am today. And so it's an absolute pleasure to have Chaya here with us, her energy, her wisdom. Thank you so much for being here with us, Chaya.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. Thank you, Olivia.
Yeah, and it's really exciting because here I am right now sitting in Bucharest when we're doing this interview, and you are in New York.
New York City.
Oh my God. So exciting. Yeah, so Chaya, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, who you help. Introduce yourself.
Okay, so I am a business accelerator and mindset coach, and I spent years in corporate, climbing the corporate ladder in Fortune 100 companies. And after quite some time, when I started there, I loved it. I loved what I was learning, and I learned so many things like communication skills and leadership skills. And I was very much a go-getter. I was very much the person that, you give me something and I want to figure out how to do it and get it done really well. And I loved working with other people. And eventually I started to manage other people and manage people across organizations. And it was just so much fun. I learned so much. But after a while, the corporate culture changed, and mainly because my company got bought out, and also because how the market was changing overall. And I realized that I was no longer in alignment with corporate culture. And I had this burning desire. I knew that I wanted to build something for myself. I knew that I had a purpose of being here, and I wanted to follow that dream. And so the purpose for me was, how do I help others reach their full potential? So first, whenever you want to help others, you really need to travel that road on your own first, right? So I had to go on this journey of self-discovery to find out who I am, what do I want, what is my purpose, and get really deeply connected to that. And what I realized was I wanted to help other people reach their potential, but also to build something, to build a legacy for themselves, to build financial freedom for themselves. And creating entrepreneurship is the vehicle that they can do that. They can express who they are, they can express their purpose, and they can impact the lives of others while doing that. And so that is why I switched over to be a business coach. And what I found is that in order to step into that, there's all of these things that come up, that arise, that we need to face. And some people call them obstacles, but I say challenges or moments that really show you who you are as a person.
Mm.
And so that's why a very, very important piece of growing in any way, in personally and or in business, is the activity of mindset. And so mindset coaching was so important for me to overcome what I needed to grow to higher levels. And so I feel so passionate about infusing that into my teaching when I'm helping people transition into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And your interview today is so timely. I've recently started these series where I interview technology founders because they are my clients. I work with them, and this is the community I am trying to build. And I've had here on these weekly shows also technology founders, but also like I had Adam Matalon, who is, teaching C-suite and founders how to create their story authentically and powerfully. And so your intervention today comes to sort of, complete this perspective and looking at how do we make the switch from being in the corporate world to building and growing our own business. And oftentimes it's a mindset challenge, like you said. So, what do you see are the most, difficult moments or challenges that people have when they decide to make this switch?
Well, two main things happen most of the time. One is the feeling of imposter syndrome or unworthiness. And I think everybody goes through that. And people think, oh, those business people who are so successful don't go through that. But they do. And in order to get where they were, they had to actually face them and overcome those things. So working towards your own self-worth is a really big part of the mindset piece. And the other piece is your money, I forget what it's called, but your money set point. Yeah, your money set point. And so people have, for example, if you're used to making a certain amount of money and you're not making higher, some people can't go over that. I don't know if you've ever heard of, I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard of people who win the lottery and they lose it all because their vibration has not risen to the level of receiving that much money. So whenever we're crossing a boundary that we haven't crossed before, we need a little mindset boost to remember that we are worthy of going to the next step. And like I said, business owners who are making millions of dollars, every time they have to reach the next level, they go through that as well. So people think, oh, it's them and it's not us, but it's everyone. Everyone goes through these.
Got it. Okay. So are you basically saying that the reason I haven't earned the lottery is because I'm already aligned with that level of revenue? I love this, Chaya.
You know what's funny? I heard this from someone, and I don't remember the whole teaching, but I remember hearing that like wanting to win the lottery is really a lack and a scarcity mindset, because when we, and I used to think, oh, if I just win the lottery, that's what we all think when we're little. But what I realized is that when you step into your own mindset of appreciating who you are and knowing who you are, because we all are perfectly beautiful beings that came here and we and deserving, right? We are. So when we own that, then that flows to us, and then we don't need that like magical thinking type of thing because we can create our destiny. So
Okay, got it. So it's basically because I didn't buy the lottery tickets. That's
that
what you're saying. Okay,
that
good.
now we're gonna go buy it right after this, both of us, right?
Yeah. No, but it absolutely has to do with mindset, I think. And I was posting about this the other day. I think the thing that no one teaches us as entrepreneurs or founders is what is success. Still, we're so hung up on this idea of being successful, but nobody actually tells you what it takes to get there. And I think part of it is mindset, as you say. And again, we're very lucky to have you here today in this session. But part of it is also work. And don't we just like kind of have a very awful relationship to work and hard work and, work?
It does get a bad rap, right? And work from the past, like from corporate, oh, we have to go to work, and Sunday night you get that pit in your stomach. It's like, oh, tomorrow I have to go to work, a whole nother week of work. And then people say, Wednesday, they say, oh, today is hump day. They're like, we finally got through half the week. So it has been infused in our culture to think that way, and we don't realize the influences around us. Like when we're little children, we're already starting to be influenced by the people around us, our parents, our teachers, like everyone around us. We don't know any different. We're born into the world, we're living in this universe that comes with these specific people, and whatever their beliefs are and whatever their thoughts are infused in us, because that's what we're absorbing. And
Mhm.
so we have to really pay attention to those thoughts. We have to say, what am I thinking? Why am I thinking this? Is it something that's true? Or is it something that was taught to me? Or was it something that was passed down by generations, So
Mhm.
when you're thinking about work is, you know, a, something that I have to toil over, there is like a different way to see it, right? There's a different way to see it. And that's one of the things that we do with as an entrepreneur is when I take my clients through the niche process, for example, like, what do you love to do? Because when you love to do something, it's not work, it's exciting, because you're creating and you're being creative in the niche that you want to share, in the zone of genius that you want to share with the world. So when you're being creative, it's a joy. And even when you're solving problems, it's kind of a joy, because you're like, oh, how can I solve this problem and make a bigger impact on people and help people in a bigger way? So work turns into a love, and not to mix up the fact that you are going to do work, because it does take a lot to create your business. And that's a fallacy that people think, like, oh, if I love what I do, I'm going to be like, just free and do nothing all day. That's not what it is. It's
And
like
the
toiling.
4 hour, the whole 4 hour work week. It's
Right. I mean, I don't know. I haven't tried that, and I haven't finished reading that. I still need to get that book. But what I find is that you're toiling in something that you enjoy doing, so you actually are enjoying the process of working in something that you love. So shifting, like, it's like back to mindset, it's shifting that mindset into, what do I love to do? What is something that is my gift? And when you're sharing that, it's just so natural, so easy, it just comes out of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's like really getting in touch with what you're passionate about,
Yeah.
what you really love doing, and then being realistic about the expectation that just because you love the thing and you are creative in the process, and you mentioned, kind of what I got from what you were sharing is entrepreneurs are problem solvers, they are creators, they are creative people. It kind of like goes hand in hand. I don't know any founders, any tech founders that aren't problem solvers or creative people, at some level. Maybe they're not drawing or making statues, but there is a creation process in solving the problem, right?
Yeah.
And what I also heard is like some of the tools that you use is helping them find that passion. What else? What else do you use with your clients?
So with my clients, what I do is I make sure to, when people are starting out in business, I find that a lot of times they think, oh, let me just start throwing something against the wall and start making money. And that's a great idea, and it works for some, but for those people, it doesn't carry them through with the
Mhm.
strength that they need to accelerate exponentially. And what I find is that, excuse me, the reason that happens is because they didn't stop and say, let me build a strong foundation for my business. Let me find out, really get in touch with who I am. What is my passion? What do I want to share with people? Is this something that they need? Because sometimes we think, oh, everybody needs this, and they might need something a little bit different than the way you're perceiving it. So finding, doing those exercises and finding that out, making sure that you connect with your branding. We do this really cool like branding assessment we assess your archetypes. So you get to find out more about who you are. You get to find out, am I a luxury brand? Am I not a luxury brand? What is that? What is my brand promise? What are my brand colors? People think that branding is just a logo. It's not just a logo. It's so much more than that, because it's really representing you and what you're giving. For example, like if you have a luxury brand of I don't know, pocketbooks, for example, or handbags, you're not going to put like Mickey Mouse colors on them. But if it's a
Mm.
low end brand, you might, because you're having a different audience. So defining the colors actually is what people perceive, and we don't
Mhm.
realize the psychology of things. And a big piece that I share with my clients is building a signature system and
Mhm.
taking
What is
through.
that?
Yeah, so that's we take, so how do you, the signature system means, how do you take the client from when they enter your world to, so that's like point A, to Z, which is they get the result that they came to you for. And so when you can create repeatable steps and a defined path for them to take, to know, like, when people take this journey, they get X result that they came to get from you. So people just say, oh, I've been to high-end coaching, and they say, oh, just when a client comes, just coach them on what they need, whatever they come to you for the day. And that's not giving them direction. So it's about giving them, you're giving them the steps, and you're directing them to get through to the end. So it's a combination of your steps, your mindset influences, and all of that, so that they have a structured, and how do you say, they have something that has been done before. I'm losing my words.
Yeah,
To get
like a blueprint.
correct, like a blueprint to get there, and then you guide them through that, those, so
Mhm.
that they go through those steps and they reach the goal that they desire, right? So that is a signature system that everyone who has that sets them apart in the market, because they're like, oh, people get results when they work with that person because they have a specific steps to take, and they get through them. So that money mindset, which we touched on, how to price and package your services, and the biggest piece, right, is the mindset piece that I infuse in between all of them. So
Yeah. And the branding.
yeah, and so when you take the time to build that, yes, you can start getting clients in the meantime, because you don't want to just say, oh, I'm not getting clients. But when you take the time to build those out, then you get really defined in who you are. You get really clear in your marketing messages, because when you have, so for example, my signature system has those specific pillars of content. It has the niche, it has the branding, it has signatures, it has all of those. So then you get to build yours, what your pillars of content are, and then you get to use those as your marketing, because then your message is clear and synonymous with what you bring.
Beautiful.
So
So you
building
get
this
the
strong foundation.
strategy and the tools. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you build a strong foundation with the strategy and the mindset, then you have like a house, right? If it's not built on it's shaky ground. But if it is, then you can build on top of that. And so as a business, you can grow and scale when you have that strong foundation.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Having like a system and put in place a structure on which you can build.
Yeah.
Great. Um, what are some common misconceptions about entrepreneurship? And I know we touched a little bit on that, right? Like it's easy, you can do it in 4 hours a day or things like that. But I was just commenting from my own experience because when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I was a little bit, cast away in this hype that you can build a business around your lifestyle and your preferences. And I'm not saying it's not true, but I think what's untrue about that part is that it's easy and it's not. Simple as that. But what are some misconceptions you see about entrepreneurship and how is it relating to mindset?
So that's a good question. And we did touch on it a little bit. So people sometimes think, okay, so I know what I do. I have my zone of genius. This is what I want to share with the world. Okay, where are my clients? And they don't realize that it's a process, that it doesn't happen overnight. It can, but it doesn't happen overnight. For example, and they have to understand what it requires of them, because if they do understand what it requires of them, it can become easy, and it can become that you create your desired life around that, but you have to put in the work up front. So it requires hard work up front. It requires, and I don't like the word hard work because, like I said, if it's your passion, it's not hard work. It's just focused work, I would say. I would rather say focused work. It
Mm-hmm.
requires perseverance, right? And if you're not going to follow through, then this profession isn't for you, right? So it requires perseverance, and it requires a time to build that successful business. So you have to know that this is a process. I'm building something, and I'm building to get to that place. And when you do, you can exponentially grow, but you have to first take the time to build that strong foundation. So what as an entrepreneur, you want to focus on creating value, solving problems, and like I said, building a strong foundation. So what's important to have is, in the beginning especially, and always when you're an entrepreneur, is patience and resilience, right? And
Mm-hmm.
what I find is really important is continuous learning, right? Because when you're growing, you're always learning more to expand more. So the staying on top of continuous learning to overcome obstacles or to achieve higher success or whatever it is. So that is one misconception, but if you have these knowings, then you can actually accelerate to where you want to be, because once you obtain these character features, I would say they are, that resilience and the patience and the perseverance, then you can create anything. So the other thing is that people think that you have to do everything yourself when you become an entrepreneur. Okay, so this is sort of like a second part, but it's connected to the first part. People think, oh, I have to do everything myself, but they don't realize that what's important is two things: mentorship and delegation. Mentorship and delegation. And so what happens is, when you delegate the things that are not your zone of genius to people who it is their zone of genius, and you create that kind of team and you create that kind of synergy, then you're able to focus on what you do best and share that with everybody. But they're able to focus on what they do best. And together, once you create that synergy, so that's the piece that takes time, right? To first create the foundation, find the people that you can delegate to, and then each person is doing what they do best, and you create standard operating procedures, and then that's when it flows. That's when you can go move to a 4-day work week at some point. That's when, but I don't know about 4 hour or 4 day.
4 hour day.
4 hour day. Oh,
Was it
okay.
4 hour week? I'm starting to be worried now.
I don't remember. I don't remember. We have to look that up. But you can create that life once you create that, and also leverage is the last piece. Like once you create those systems in place, then you can, and you leverage, then you're creating the company that you want, the impact that you want, because you want to impact more people. So that's where leverage comes into play. Does that make sense? I know.
Yeah. No, it's crystal clear. I think we're starting to see a light here, Chaya. So the takeaways, founders, are, when you're starting out on this path, make sure that you set up a very strongly foundation for your business. You create systems, and that is what is going to, and start delegating to the people who will be doing whatever is not in your zone of genius, right? You want to delegate those things, and create a team who is able to take over some of those tasks, and who are actually passionate and interested in doing the tasks that you as a founder are not interested in doing. And this will set a strong foundation for your business, and this will also allow you to scale, right? Chaya?
Yes. And so lots of times people are like, oh, I don't know, how am I going to build a team if I'm not making money? So that's why it's important to understand that there are VAs that you can start out with, right? And there's like Fiverr and things like that you could start out with. And if, I think I mentioned this before, but the importance of mentorship to guide you, because there's so much information, and it's like, how do I take all that and go this way, right? How do I get through that? And mentorship is a key thing for us to learn, because we're always learning from others who are ahead of us, how to get to the next step.
Yeah, absolutely. So much value in this session and everything that you shared, Chaya. Is there any way for entrepreneurs who are, in the beginning of their journey, or maybe considering making this leap from corporate to starting their own business? Is there any resource that you can share, or, where would you advise them to start off?
I have a resource that talks about building a strong foundation for your business, and that can be found at sphericalsuccess.com/foundation. And you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn or Facebook, and I guess we can put the links below for them to reach me. And you can
absolutely
DM me there, friend request me, DM me, and I will be happy to set up a connect call.
Super. Thank you so much. And anything that you're preparing in the next period, are you having your own lives or a podcast? What other resources do entrepreneurs have to find you?
So I have a weekly live on Tuesdays at noon Eastern, and I also and I also do master classes every so often. So if you get on my email list, you will be included in that upcoming information.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here today and for sharing all these valuable insights and your wisdom. And I hope to see you very soon back here in our live.
Thank you so much, Olivia. It was a joy to do this with you.